Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again is my Tocayo and co-host Adrian, joining us from lovely city of Monterrey. What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, what's up, dude? Out here trying to get over a cold. It's a season for this kind of thing, so be sure to take your vitamin C, stay home, and take in a lot of fluids, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hope you get better. You sound like crap, man. So you don't sound the greatest today. So let's see if you can make it through this episode, man. Because you're probably going to be carrying the episode, your weight of the episode here. Mexico episode. We're going to be focusing on giving our predictions for the roster for Mexico's upcoming October friendlies. For those of you who have forgotten or need a reminder here, Mexico will be playing on October 14th versus Ghana in the Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then 3 days later, they'll be playing on October 17th against Germany in Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Again, two very, very good opponents compared to what we've seen in the past from Mexico. The September window gave us the partidazos of Mexico versus Uzbekistan and Mexico versus Australia. So hopefully these can compete with those games. But these should definitely be better games than those. Should be able to give us more of a look of where Mexico currently stands against these types of oppositions. It'll be a squad that, if you guys recall, jimmylozano previously for September said that he wasn't calling most of his Euro players. He wanted them to, quote, be with paz y tranquilidad con sus nuevos equipos, be with peace and tranquility, and be able to be better integrated with their new European team. So he wanted to give them time, which is why we got a mainly ligamx squad last time in September. But what many pundits are predicting, what you're predicting here, Adrian, is that we will see a mainly European-based squad for these two friendlies, man. Is that right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's looking like, man. As you mentioned, uh, in September, I guess, since a lot of these European guys were pretty much settling down or just arriving to their new European teams, he decided to just let them, chill out there for a minute, get used to the new teams, and figure out their future. In the likes of chukylozano, who was in the middle of a move from Napoli to PSV. So this time around, we shall see a lot of the European Legion faces coming down, and I think it's nice because these are going to be two very competitive matches, in my opinion. Even though the last two matches that we saw in September were kind of competitive for Mexico, since they tied both, they struggled significantly against Uzbekistan, and for some reason, Australia is just one of those teams that does not sit well for Mexico. But this time around, this could be perhaps one of the closest rosters that we might see for Copa America, with the caveats of some of these players dropping because of performance and whatnot. Some familiar faces, but some other new ones. We'll go down my predictions for this roster. I'll tell you what I see as who are the players for sure that will show up for this October friendlies, and then some of the surprises and also some of the not so new faces that we may see on these October friendlies.
Yeah, man, a lot of familiar faces, a lot of faces that were missed in September, and yeah, a couple surprises like you mentioned. Why don't we get started, man, with who Jimmy may call for his arquero, his porteros here, goalies. Who do you got?
Let's do it. I think with the exception of Carlos Acevedo, who's still injured and is not making a comeback anytime soon. Uh, I think it's a no-brainer. We're gonna see Guillermo Ochoa, and we shall see Luis Angel Malagon, who lost or who was not able to play on September matches due to an injury. He was recovering from an injury, and he was able to make a comeback against Pumas during this last weekend of ligamx. So I think we're gonna see Luis Angel Malagon here. I don't think normally he calls up three different keepers. I wouldn't be surprised if he only calls two, but if he calls three keepers, I think we should see the three ones that we have seen for the last couple of call-ups, which are, as I said, Guillermo Ochoa, Luis Angel Malagon, Antonio Rodriguez. Guillermo Ochoa is not having the best time of his life in Salernitana right now. He's getting pounded left and right. Nothing but goleadas for him. And I mean, it's nothing new, right? We kind of sort of see Guillermo Ochoa struggling with goleadas on pretty much all of his European adventures. But as much as I want to say, or as much as we would like to see a change, he's still the best goalkeeper, and we have said this for a few episodes now, and I think we're going to continue saying it for at least the near future, man.
Yeah, Guillermo Ochoa, definitely a keeper that when he went to Europe into his teams, he always chose a team. I don't know if it was his fault, his manager's fault, or his player rep fault, or he just so happened to be. He always went to teams with crappy defenses, and it worked out for him last season in Italy when he was nominated like the best signing of the January transfer window or something like that, right? Because he went to a very struggling team and was able to pick up points for them, all because of him, either clean sheets or keeping them in the game. A team that just is not known for defense. So yeah, I mean, Guillermo Ochoa, he might be on the end of receiving constantly goleadas against him in Europe, but it's helped him out for la selección. I mean, he's been undisputed for Mexico for what, 12, 15
Yeah.
years now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, I guess there's not a big change here in Porteros. I think
No.
Guillermo Ochoa will probably be the one to start one of, if not both, matches. Defense, man, who do you got for us in center back? I see some familiar faces returning back here in defense.
Yeah, I see. So I'm gonna go for sure guys that are gonna show up on this call up. I think we're gonna see Johan Vasquez again, and the return of Cesar Montes now that he's with I think Almeria, if I'm not mistaken. He was trying to make a move from the recently relegated Espanyol, and he ended up going to Almeria. So we shall see him back. For sure, we shall see Julian Araujo and also Jesus Gallardo as the starting, I guess, or at least for sure, the defenders that we shall see here.
Real quick,
As far,
man.
Mhm.
Julian Araujo went down yesterday in a match against Celta Vigo in the
I know,
32nd minute.
yeah.
Yeah, you think he's going to be able to make
Mhm.
it back?
Well, from what I've been reading, is that even though he got subbed because of that injury, he might be able to, or at least still be eligible for this match. Um, Sorry, but on that note, uh, the two players that I have on the backup for, I guess, on the roster for backup are Jorge Sanchez, who I also think uh, I also think might be available. He's been struggling with his fitness at Porto. He has only played I think 15 minutes in Champions League recently. But there's a player in San Luis who is currently the leader of ligamx in the name of Ricardo Chavez. Ricardo Chavez has been playing great for the last year and a half with San Luis. He's a strong right back, and I think this will be a good chance for him to raise his hand and tell jimmylozano he's ready for the challenge. As far as the left back goes, as I said, Jesus Gallardo for sure. I think Gerardo Arteaga will also for sure show up on this call up. And then lastly, if either Jesus Gallardo or Gerardo Arteaga are not fit for the match, I think this will be a good opportunity for Omar Campos from Santos to raise the hand again and say, "Hey, I'm here. Pick me up. And let's do it." He's been playing consistently for Santos, very strong performances for the last couple of years. So I think it's time for him to show up, that he's able to fulfill that position, or at least challenge that position against Jesus Gallardo and Gerardo Arteaga.
You brought up Ricardo Chavez. Would this be his first call up for la selección? I believe
I
so, right?
believe so, man. I think this is gonna be his first call up. I'm not sure if he has played for the under 23s or under 20s with Mexico, but man, I mean, he's been strong, as I said, for the last year and a half. I don't see any other Mexican player toppling him for that position. Maybe El Toro Garza from Tigres, but it's gonna be tough to find another strong right back that is in Jorge Sanchez or Julian Araujo right now.
Yeah, I agree. So, assuming these are the nine defenders he brings, you said, to reiterate, two center backs, Cesar Montes, Johan Vasquez, and then assuming Araujo is injury free, him a right back, and Gallardo left back, right? Is what you'd like to see.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. That's most likely what we're going to see. I mean, it will make sense if we look back at Jimmy Lozano's matches, and even on September, what we saw is something similar like this.
Yeah,
Instead of Cesar Montes, he called up what Orozco Chiquete, which, yeah, and I don't think he's going to call up Sepulveda right
yeah.
after. Yeah, the disaster
Right.
of September. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's pretty much settled on at this point. Johan Vasquez and Cesar Montes being his go-to guys. Cool. Looks like if everyone's fit, he'll have his European contingent there in defense, and it's
Yeah.
something that we haven't seen them all play too much together. So it'd be interesting to see how they team up against two teams that Mexico usually. I wouldn't say struggles against, but the type of styles. Ghana is like a beefed up Jamaica, very quick, very just launch the ball forward and outpace your defender, which we've seen
Super
Mexico
physical.
struggle against. Yeah, physical, and obviously the estatura, the height that Mexico struggles with against like teams like Germany on set pieces. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys, deal with that. What do you got for the midfield, bro?
Here, man, I think we're gonna see a familiar faces. I think we're gonna see Luis Chavez again back with El Tri. He's been settling down over there in Russia. It's kind of hard to follow his track, given the current situation, and it's not easy to find Russian Premier League matches online. But yeah, he's gonna come back. We shall also see Edson Alvarez and, if I'm not mistaken, either Charlie Rodriguez, and unfortunately, I think we're gonna also see Hector Herrera again in the roster, man. I'm still not gonna say that I'm disappointed in Jimmy. I'm gonna give him a chance, but dude, my man, it's kind of hard to be a Jimmy champion whenever he makes these call ups, right? We keep on saying that he's gonna make the generational change and he's gonna make play differently, and yet once again he has shown that he is essentially playing favorites here and calling out his amigos, right? He's just calling out his friends, I guess, showing gratitude in a way. And the fact that H went and cried to jimmylozano in Houston, it's like,
That's
come on,
right.
man. I mean, yeah, you got to drop this.
Hey, but Ache just won the U.S. Open Cup with Dynamo, played a pivotal role with that, and he has Dynamo in the
Bruh.
fourth or fifth spot and qualifying for playoffs. Man, he's doing well. I don't know if it's enough to get him into the selección, but I mean, maybe crying to Jimmy and winning that title made him get called up. You mentioned the generational change. You don't think it's valuable to have him there? I know we're proponents of moving past that team that struggled so badly in 2022 Qatar, and maybe just doing a clean slate and getting all these newer guys in. But I look at Tigres, who has all these older guys now, the old generación, right? That of players that are already in their 35, 36 years old, 34, that and slowly implementing younger guys right into that squad. Can H not kind of fill this role of having that experience, or is it just Edson Alvarez and those Cesar Montes have that experience enough already that we don't need these older guys like H?
No, you totally have a valid point, man, and I agree with you. My case with HH is that this is a very well populated role in El Tri, right? You have a bunch of youngsters that show promise, and you also have young players who have settled down in this role and are ready to take that leadership spot. I don't think HH is detrimental to the team, but I also don't think he doesn't add any benefit to it. You just mentioned Enzo Alvarez, who is one of those players who is still young. He's like, what, 25, 26 years old. He's been playing for El Tri for the last, what, two World Cups. So I think this is his time to take that leadership role and, establish himself as one of those big names for El Tri and start settling down into what HH was for El Tri in the last few years. So that's my only thing with HH. You're making very strong points. He won the US Cup, which, albeit Inter Miami didn't have Messi, at 100%, but nor here nor there, and he is helping Houston Dynamo to pick up the steam in MLS. Is that enough? I don't know. I mean, you have someone like Jordi Cortizo, Marcel Ruiz, Sebastian Cordova, even Eric Sanchez, who are constantly playing in ligamx. And while we have this debate over and over, where whether ligamx is better than MLS, what I can tell you is that if, let's say that they are the same skill level, none these leagues are pretty much at the same level. Uh, I personally believe that Marcel Ruiz, Jordi Cortizo, Sebastián Córdoba, and Eric Sanchez can provide a different perspective to El Tri when needed. Because the thing with Achachi is that, yeah, he can definitely, be that anchor of experience and maybe provide guidance on the pitch for the other lads. But he is no longer a pivotal player for El Tri. And we saw on the September friendlies when Eric Sanchez jump on the pitch instead of HH. We saw a huge change in Mexico. They became more dynamic. They were more thinking forward. They were having faster transitions from the third to the first block of the pitch. So that's my take with HH.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I agree that a lot of these younger guys deserve to be given a chance, and we did see a change, a very substantial change when he came off the field in those September friendlies. So just to recap: Luis Chavez, Edson Alvarez, Luis Romo, Eric Sanchez, Charlie Rodriguez, Jordi Cortizo, Marcelo Ruiz, Sex Bastian Cordova, Tigres idol, CEO of Sex, and HH are your midfields that you're thinking are going to be called up here. Um,
Yeah.
so who do you got for delanteros, for strikers, man, forwards?
I think for strikers, no brainer. Raul Jimenez, Santiago Jimenez, and maybe Henry Martin, who's making a comeback with America. He's coming back from injury. There's no other Mexican striker right now available. So I think those three will be the chosen ones for Jimmylozano this time around. And hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if he doesn't call up Henry Martin and he just sticks with Raul Jimenez and Santiago Jimenez.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Santi right now is currently on fire with Feyenoord. He's been, if you look back in the, I saw an interesting stat today that if you look back since January 1st, 2023, in the top 7 leagues, he ranks number 5 as top goal scorers, only behind Holland, Lautaro Martinez, Mbappe, and Harry Kane. It's Santi's there, number 5 in the top 5 scorers for in the European continent. So he's doing crazy. He's doing great, and he plays in the Champions League tomorrow, Wednesday. So we'll expect another strong performance from him. But who else do you got up there for forwards, man?
Yeah, as a right wing, I think we're gonna have Orbelin Pineda, Uriel Antuna, and Cesar Chino Huerta. I think those are three no-brainer options that Jimmy Lozano will end up calling up, with Orbelin Pineda to my choice to be the starting 11 right wing. And as far as left wings, I think he's gonna stick with two players in the names of chukylozano. So we're gonna see Lozano back in the squad, and Roberto Alvarado, who as again, just like Uriel Antuna, we have no other option. It is what it is, man. I mean, you have Diego Lainez, I guess. I also think that if he doesn't call up Roberto Alvarado, he can call up Diego Lainez. Uh, I know PPG Nation will mention Alexis Vega, but man, Alexis Vega has been just, I guess not dropped, but he's been separado from the first team in Chivas because of his, poor attitude, poor performance, and then just him constantly not showing up in time for the training sessions. So why would you call someone up who's not committed to his club? What kind of attitude do you think is going to show up when he joins at El Centro de Alto Rendimiento in Mexico City when you call him up, right?
Yeah, no, it was him and 2 other players. I can't recall who, but they've been kind of frozen out at Chivas. Um, what about a player that we haven't seen or heard from since the El Coca got let go? He was one of the El Coca's favorites, Roberto de la Rosa. Is his time up with Mexico, at least for now?
No, man, that's a really good question, dude. Thank you for bringing it up. I think he deserves a chance. I think if they're not gonna call up Henry Martin, they should be calling up Roberto de la Rosa. Unfortunately for Roberto de la Rosa, though, is that even though he plays as an striker for Pachuca, he isn't shining for scoring goals. He shines because of his, due to his assists or his role as a, overall player on the pitch. So that's one of the things against him, is that even though he nominally is a striker, he doesn't shine as a true striker. It's a tough one, dude. I think I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a good player. Unfortunately, though, he when you compare him against Henry Martin, even Henry Martin, uh, he's not just there yet. He might end up, settling for a different role that isn't being the striker. I think he's more of a central forward rather than a striker. Uh, and unfortunately, Jimmy Lozano does not play with a central forward, so that's why I think his chances are slim compared to other players, just because of that specific reason.
Yeah, no, I agree. Speaking of how Jimmy plays, we've seen him kind of favor or gotten into. He's tried out a lot of formations, but I think his go-to at this point has become the 4-3-3. We talked about Ochoa probably pretty much getting that starting spot at the back four of Gallardo, Montes, Vasquez, and Araujo. Assuming everybody's fit for that. Who would you see starting in that 4-3-3 in the midfield and in the forward roles?
Yeah, so in the midfield, I think we're gonna see Luis Chavez and Edson Alvarez as a first choice. I think that's an easy go-to for Jimmy Lozano, and the third one is gonna be H H. We saw it in September. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it again, just because of that specific thing that you mentioned, which is experience. Before his debacle with Houston Dynamo, he was a strong performer at Atletico de Madrid. So hell, maybe he'll put up a good show against Germany, and revisit his best years whenever they defeated them in 2018.
Yeah.
And, for the forwards, I see chukylozano as a left wing. I think Bebote Jimenez should start uh, on both matches, and I think I favor Orbelin Pineda over Roberto Alvarado. But as we saw on September, Orbelin Pineda almost also nestled as a second striker just behind the number 9. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 4-1-2-3-1 formation uh, instead of a 4-3-3. But I think for against Ghana, he's going to be playing with a 4-3-3 at least.
And we know that Chucky Lozano is someone that has made his career from that performance against Germany. So this
Yeah.
is coming
Mhm.
back around for him. Another, he lives for these moments against Germany. So we'll see how he plays here. I see that obviously this is a mainly European based squad, but is Tecatito completely out of the question now?
Man, I don't think he's completely out of the question, in general, right? I think he's out for this October friendlies. And the reason why I say that is even though he joined Monterrey in the last month, he has been struggling a lot with his fitness and performance. He's still trying to catch up with his rhythm. Even though he did, preseason with Sevilla, and he played a bunch of minutes in the at the beginning of La Liga this year. He hasn't settled, in Monterrey as quickly as he thought he was gonna. So I don't see him playing right now for El Tri. I don't think he's above Chukylozano or Orbelin Pineda or even hell Chino Huerta. Right? He's been a very nice surprise for Pumas during the last season and this at the beginning of this season. So at this point in time, I don't see Tecatito joining El Tri in the near future. I really hope that he picks up the steam and he's able to come back to the levels that we saw him at Sevilla and Porto uh, before his injury, right, in 2022. But yeah, man, I think at least for the next few friendlies, we won't see him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I did see him struggle a lot in his first couple of games in Monterrey, and he's been. I don't think he's gone a full 90 yet for them. So
Yo, he's talking in a Clásico, dog.
yeah, he was. He got.
Yeah, he got
I didn't
his
want.
hands
I didn't
handed,
want to
man.
say that for any Rayalos fans that we have watching this, but they're gonna say that we just talk crap about. No, no, no. I mean, he did. He was pretty bad in the Clásico. They took his ass off, and he was not happy. But yeah, Adrian, man, a strong lineup, strong roster of players. Jimmy's calling up here. If this is indeed who he calls up here, two good games. We have to look forward to on the 14th and 17th again against Ghana and against Germany. So as we wrap this one up, bro, where can our listeners find this dude?
Man, they can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Puro Pinche Gol. We post stuff every now and then.
Yeah, be sure to follow us and let us know in the comments below. Anybody that we predicted on this roster that you think should make it or shouldn't make it. Anybody that we missed that you think has been playing really well in ligamx or in Europe that you think should get called up. How do you think Jimmy will fare against these better oppositions in Ghana and Germany? We definitely like reading and interacting in the comments with you guys. So be sure to drop one below and let us know. Also, be sure to subscribe here at Puro Pinche Gol, helping us grow the PPG family, PPG Nation here. So, we appreciate you guys here listening to us. Adrian, man, another good one with you, brother. I'll see you in the next one, bro.
Take it easy, brother.